Level 1. The Associate. You're 17. You grow up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Your grandfather came from Palermo with nothing. Your father drove a delivery truck his whole life. You watch him come home every night smelling like diesel, hands cracked, back broken. He never complained. He's a proud man. The men on the corner don't smell like diesel. They wear silk shirts, they drive Cadillacs, they eat at restaurants where the owner comes out and greets them by name before they even sit down. You know what they are. Everyone in the neighborhood knows. You start small, you park cars for them, you run envelopes from one address to another without opening them. You stand outside a social club on 18th Avenue and you watch the street. They call you an associate. That means you're useful, but you're not family yet. Your mother is Irish. You can never be made, but you can earn, and earning means you're protected. One night, a made guy named Carmine hands you a bat. A bookie in Coney Island is 3 weeks late. Go remind him why that's a problem. You find the bookie in his car outside a diner. You don't say much. You don't have to. The car window says everything. You walk back to Carmine with a bruised hand and $3,200 in cash. He peels off $300 and gives it to you. You don't spend the money in the neighborhood. You don't tell anyone. You never talk about it. That's the first rule of this life. Silent. They're watching to see if you understand that. You do. Level 2. The Made Man. You're 22. 5 years of earning. 5 years of collections. Hijacked trucks off the Jersey Turnpike. Stolen electronics moved through a warehouse in Red Hook. 5 years of keeping your mouth shut. Carmine says, there's going to be a ceremony. The night it happens, you drive to a house in Howard Beach. November. Cold. Inside, 7 men sit around a table. Some you know, some you don't. The boss of the family is there. He looks like someone's grandfather. Soft voice, kind eyes. He has ordered the deaths of at least 11 men. He explains what this means. You are now part of Cosa Nostra, this thing of ours. He pricks your trigger finger with a pin. A drop of blood falls onto a card with a saint's image, San Gennaro. They light it on fire. You hold it as it burns. You repeat the oath. As this saint burns, so will my soul burn in hell if I betray Cosa Nostra. The card turns to ash in your hand. You are a soldier now, a made man. In this neighborhood, that means more than a law degree, more than anything your father's generation ever dreamed of. But you are also bound now. The oath doesn't just protect, it owns you. Omerta, the wall of silence. You don't talk to police. You don't testify. You don't cooperate, ever, for any reason. If you do, the same men who just welcomed you will find you. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter where you go. You understood this before you walked through the door. You accepted it completely. The saint's card is ash. There's no going back. Level 3, the earner. You're 27. You run a loan shark operation out of a social club in Carroll Garden. 12 people owe you money. A contractor, a restaurant owner, a gambler who bet the wrong team 3 months in a row. They come to you because banks say no. They come to you because desperation doesn't ask questions. The rate is 2 points a week. Every $10,000 borrowed costs $200 every week, just interest. The principal doesn't move. The debt grows. That's the point. You also run a numbers game in 2 neighborhoods. Illegal lottery. People bet quarters on 3-digit numbers. You keep 40% of everything. The rest goes to your capo in an envelope. Every Friday afternoon, cash. Never late, never short. Your capo is a man named Vincent. You call him Vinny to his face, and the capo everywhere else. He likes you because you're consistent. You don't make problems, you deliver. One morning, the FBI parks a surveillance van across from the social club. White van, no markings. Same spot 3 days running. You spot it immediately. You don't change anything. You don't panic. You act exactly like you always act. You warn Vinny through a mutual friend. 2 words. They're watching. Operations move. Nothing gets seized. The van disappears after a week. Vinny hears about it. He looks at you in a way that means more than anything he could say. You're being seen. You're being considered for something bigger. Your father suspects the truth about your life now. He doesn't ask because he doesn't want to know. He comes to Sunday dinner every week. He eats your wife's gravy and talks about the Yankees. You pour his wine and you watch him and you think, he worked his whole life and had nothing, and you have everything he doesn't, and you're not sure anymore which one of you made the right choice. You finish your wine, you clear the plate, Monday is coming. Level 4, the capo. You're 34. Vinny gets indicted, RICO charges, money laundering, racketeering, conspiracy. 25 years minimum. They move you up. You're a capo regime now. You run a crew of 12. soldiers and associates, 3 neighborhoods, loan sharking, gambling, construction contract, a waste management company that has won every city contract in your borough for 6 years running. Nobody bids against you. They already know who's going to win. You hold court every Tuesday at a restaurant in Bay Ridge. Your soldiers come one at a time. They report what they're earning. They hand over the envelope. You take your percentage and send the rest up to the underboss. The math is simple. Your crew earns $80,000 a week. You keep 30%. That's over $1 million a year. Cash. Untaxed, untraceable. You bought your mother a house in Staten Island. You told her it was from construction work. She framed a photo of you in the living room. You're wearing a suit. You're smiling. You look exactly like a successful businessman. But the pressure at this level is different. You're responsible for everything your crew does. One of your soldiers starts skimming from his numbers. Small amounts first. You watch. He keeps doing it. You sit with him alone in the back room. You put the numbers on the table. His numbers don't add up. He starts making excuses. You let him finish. Then you say, you have 1 week to make it right. He makes it right in 4 days. You also solve a different problem this month, a problem you don't discuss with anyone. A man in your territory was talking to a federal agent. Your contact inside the U.S. Attorney's Office confirmed it. You don't have a choice. The rules are clear. The rules have always been clear. The man disappears on a Thursday. He's never found. You don't sleep well for about 2 weeks. Then one morning you wake up and you're fine. You eat breakfast. You take your son to school. You go to the social club. This is who you are now. You either accept it or you don't survive it. You accepted it. Level 5, the underboss. You're 41. The boss is aging. Prostate cancer, 3rd year. He trusts you more than anyone. He makes you Capo, underboss. You run the day-to-day operations of the entire family now. 6 capos report through you. The money flows through you. Most decisions end with you. The boss only needs the big things. You sit in on commission meetings now. The 5 families, Gambino, Genovese, Lucchese, Bonanno, Colombo, they don't meet in boardrooms. They meet in cars, in parks, walking through a cemetery. 2 men discussing nothing and everything. The commission resolves territory disputes, contract allocations, authorization for murder. That last one requires a vote. You voted to kill 4 men. 2 of them you knew personally. One of them called you a friend. The FBI is closer now. You feel it before you know it. 3 of your capos have had their phones compromised. You stop using phones for anything that matters. You take walks. Cold mornings in Prospect Park, talking about nothing. The meaning is always understood. Your daughter is in law school at Fordham. She wants to be a federal prosecutor. You paid for every year of it. You're proud of her. You're also aware of the irony every single day. At night, when the house is quiet, you sit in the kitchen and drink espresso and think about your grandfather. He came from Palermo with a suitcase and $40. He worked in a factory for 30 years. He died a proud man. You finish the coffee. You go to bed. Tomorrow is another day. It always is until it isn't. Level 6, the boss. You're 48. The old boss dies on a Tuesday morning. Natural causes, one of the few men in this life who managed that. His funeral is at a church in Staten Island. 500 people. Flowers from every family on the East Coast. No one says anything publicly about what he actually was. They talk about his generosity, his family, his faith. At the repast in the back room, the capos sit with you. There's no formal vote, not the way people imagine it. There's a silence, a consensus. The consigliere looks at you and nods. You're the boss now. The Don, your name will not appear in any newspaper as a mob boss for years. You don't exist publicly. You live in a house in Howard Beach that looks like every other house on the block. You drive a 4-year-old Buick. You go to Mass on Sunday. You coach your grandson's Little League team. You're invisible by design. The decisions at this level are different. You're not managing rackets anymore. You're managing an institution, an organization that has existed in New York for over a century. That survived Prohibition, survived Kefauver, survived Joe Valachi, survived Gotti. You think about legacy now, what you're preserving, what you're building. But the FBI has a new task force, and they think about you constantly. Your contact at Federal Plaza tells you they've pulled old financial records. They've flipped 2 soldiers from the Lucchese family with direct knowledge of commission decisions you were part of. You restructure, you move money, you quietly cut 3 people loose who might become liabilities. They retire to Florida. They stop being your problem. But the walls are getting smaller. You feel it in the way certain men look at you now. Loyalty in this life is real, and it also isn't. You've always known both things were true at the same time. Level 7, the commission. You're 54. Two families are in disarray. Federal indictments, internal wars. You step in as the de facto leader of the commission, not the boss of all bosses. That title died with Gotti. No one claims it formally anymore, but everyone knows where the decisions come from. You're mediating a war between two families over a construction contract worth $200 million. A hospital project, government-funded. Both families have legitimate companies bidding on it. Both claim historical rights to the territory. You sit with both bosses separately. You listen. You understand what each one actually wants. It's never what they say it is. One wants money, the other wants respect. You find a way to give them both while taking your own piece. The war ends before it starts. That's what you do now. You're a diplomat, a CEO, an institution. Then on a Tuesday morning, your lawyer calls. He says, "We need to talk in person today." You already know what he's going to say. The indictment comes on a Thursday, 43 counts. RICO, murder conspiracy, money laundering, tax evasion. The U.S. attorney holds a press conference and calls it the most significant organized crime prosecution in 20 years. You are arrested at your home in front of your wife, in front of your grandson who came for breakfast that morning. He's 7 years old. He watches as they put on the handcuffs. He doesn't understand what's happening. You look at him and you smile. You tell him everything is fine. It is not fine. End. You're 57. The trial runs 9 months. Your lawyers are the best money can buy. They challenge every witness, every piece of evidence. They're brilliant men doing everything possible. It isn't enough. The jury deliberates for 4 days. Guilty, all 43 counts. The judge sentences you to life in federal prison without the possibility of parole. She says you built a criminal empire on the suffering of ordinary people. She says many things. You stop listening after life. You're transferred to a federal penitentiary in Pennsylvania. The same institution housed 3 commission bosses before you. You know this because you know everything about this life. Inside, the men treat you with respect. But that means nothing here. You're in a cell. You're 60 years old and you're in a cell. Your wife visits once a month. Your daughter, the federal prosecutor, has not visited once. You understand. You would make the same choice in her position. Your grandson sends you a drawing in the mail, a house, a car, a sun in the corner the way kids always draw suns. He signed his name in big uneven letters at the bottom. You pin it to the wall next to your bed. It's the only personal item in the room. At night, you think about your grandfather. Palermo, the factory, the pride, the clean hands. You think about what you chose instead and why, and what it cost, not just you, everyone around you, your daughter who won't come, your grandson who will grow up with a grandfather in a cage, the men who died because of decisions you made in back rooms. Cosa Nostra is still out there, diminished but alive. New men taking old oaths in new houses. The ceremony still happens. The saint's card still burns. The oath is still sworn. As this saint burns, so will my soul burn in hell if I betray Cosa Nostra. You built something that outlasts you, and you destroyed something that was supposed to outlast you too. Sitting in a cell in Pennsylvania, watching the sun move across the concrete floor, you realize the difference between those two things is the only thing that ever mattered. This is Cosa Nostra. You don't retire. You don't escape. You either die inside the life or you die inside a cage. The only question was always which cage it would be, and whether you could live with what you did to fill it. Now you have your answer.